Hello and welcome to this emergency SFT tapping session with me, Marvin Schneider. Let me bring into the studio world-renowned energy healer and of course the star of the show, Jen Ward. Hi, Jen.
Hi, I'm glad we're doing this right now. It feels like a vitamin pill for the world.
It's a very interesting time in human history. There's all sorts of nonsense going on all around the world. And, to be honest, it has been for the last decade or so, but, it's amped up a lot. But the interesting thing is that, there's various autocrats, dictators, power mongers, and just general assholes are getting their comeuppance at this point in time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it feels like there's a line in the sand which has been erased by those in power. It's almost like they need to protect themselves at all costs because they're being called out, not only physically, but energetically. So it's like everything they're doing is balls to the walls to just defy anything of truth, kindness, sincerity, integrity. So there's that.
There is that. The interesting thing is that a lot of these kinds of people that we're talking about are really doubling down at the moment. So it's almost like they've got themselves, they can't run by their usual playbook. They've got away with it for so long. And there is a resistance on the part of the collective to call them out. And in the process of doing that, they're doubling down and they're just becoming more and more outrageous at every turn, it's an interesting thing. And what I observe is that as they keep doubling down and escalating the rhetoric, the divisiveness, the hate, and all sorts of other things, it is actually serving humanity in the sense that it's creating a tipping point. And my sense is we are right here, right now at that tipping point. That's why we have scheduled this emergency SFT tapping session on this particular portal day.
Yes. And understand that these power mongers, the playbook for power mongers is a very short, small book. And when their tricks don't work of fear and derision and whatever, they have no tactics after that. All they can do is just escalate the playbook. So that's what's happening. And those of us who perceive and know in energy know a better way of doing it. We're not addressing these people as physical people. We're addressing the issue in energy. So when we do these taps, some of them sound like they're a front to an individual, and they're not. We wish nothing bad to happen to any individual. What we're addressing is the energy that it propagates. Is that the word?
Yeah, propagates or sits behind or emboldens the personality.
Yeah, so that's what we're stripping down. This isn't black magic or anything that's going to hurt any individual, except we're stripping away everything they've taken from others to embolden themselves.
But the point is that you've been doing work in the background quietly, diligently, but in a lot of ways in plain sight for quite a while. And so a lot of people will say, oh, how amazing is it that we got to this tipping point and it's just happened just miraculously, but there's been a lot of effort going on in the background.
It's been a constant thing for the last 15 or so years, 24/7, just holding space for truth, sincerity, integrity, kindness, anything that's good and pure in the world. So, yeah, there's that.
There is that. Let's put into context some of the taps that we are going to be doing. We will be burning into the video the SFT tap so you can follow along with us. If you're joining us on YouTube, we are putting it up for free as a public service. Jen, you're saying that no one watches us. That's not going to be true. 8 billion people will be watching us, so pay attention to that. We are talking to 8 billion people right here, right now.
And better than that, it doesn't matter if they hear us in physical words or see our physical video. What we're doing in energy is addressing things in energy. So what looks like just sentences or words on paper or from our lips is actually energetic battle where we're stripping off the illusion and the bullshit of all these things that are like having a temper tantrum right now.
Right. The point is that these taps, everything is energy. That's kind of one point that I thought you were going to make. So at the end of the day, everything is energy. So we are addressing these issues that afflict the collective in energy. So that's one point. The other point that I want to make is that a lot of these taps, this is no holds barred, babies, these taps. And so a lot of them are quite confronting in your face. And I want you to explain, if you would, to the listener, for those that aren't familiar with your work, why these taps are phrased in such an affronting way. There is something about the cadence of the words that you use and how that is used as a scalpel in energy.
Yes. Each phrase of these is phrased this way as a way to pierce consciousness and to lob away a particular form of apathy that's ensconced humanity. And some people might not agree with everything, but they might see some truth in these. And these might be things that people in their own lives will be afraid to say because they're afraid of the attack. Well, that fear is what we're breaking down. So, so fear in itself is a form of slavery.
Right. Let's address the elephant in the room. We aren't holding back on these things. We do have the gloves off. I just need to make sure that everyone understands that as we're doing these taps, we're doing it in energy. We are not inciting violence or any ill outcome on the physical persons.
Right.
But these things do need to be addressed. If we don't address them, we're not serving humanity. We are not living our purpose of igniting universal empowerment. So it has to be done. It's like
Also,
piercing a boil, babies.
Yeah, yes, yes, it is a boil. Anyways, but I want to make the individuals who are watching this aware, because this is I feel psychic attacks coming through and psychic manipulation coming through in real time, and I can address it in real time. If you, in watching this, have a sympathy in any way for the individuals we're addressing here, know that that sympathy in itself is a psychic manipulation of your psyche, because these individuals in no way, shape, or form deserve compassion because they are ruthless and don't operate in the world of compassion. So I found myself feeling sorry for someone if he goes to prison. I'm thinking, well, what's that about? And then I checked into it, and it was a psychic manipulation. It was not my own thought. It was not my own feelings. It was inserted into my energy by these intentions to free this person. So watch your thoughts and watch your psyche, and make sure that what's going on in your own energy field are your original ideals and not inserted there by someone else.
Let me make this observation. It was made clear to me in watching one of the American news channels recently. It was an independent news outlet, so not in the mainstream, but there was a very high quality commentary or interview between a well-respected and there's a whole degree of journalistic integrity interviewing an expert on domestic extremism. And the point was being made that in the mainstream media, over the last couple of decades, probably forever, the Christian lobby was off limits. No one was willing to take on, evangelical, fundamentalist Christian lobby and dogma. We are going to be doing that today. And so, and we don't apologize for that because it needs to be done.
I've grown up being aware in energy. I used to ascribe to Christian faith and doctrine, and I watched slowly as it was bastardized and it was poisoned and contaminated by intentions that are nefarious to to the Christ consciousness. So what you see now in Christianity out there, white
Evangelical.
Christianity, has nothing to do with the compassion, love, and kindness of what Jesus taught. So that's what's going on. Think of it this way. If you were to know Jesus as a being, would he appreciate being used as a mercenary for those who harm others, those who desecrate what others hold dear? So you can ascribe to these power mongers if you want, but if you think about the man Jesus, the being Jesus, whatever you think of him, would he actually treat people the way that these power mongers are acting?